evening, and welcome to Geek Bar Radio. This is our test episode. We haven't ever done this before, and hopefully we'll do this a lot of times from now on, but we thought we'd get together and try it out. My name is Steve Fodor. I'm from a radio show called Too Much Scrolling. We do our podcast on Tuesdays. We have a lot of fun talking about a lot of information. We have two people here with me tonight who are going to talk about some interesting things. The first one is Bill Behringer. Good evening, Bill.
Hey, good evening.
How are you?
I'm fabulous. I'm having a great time on beer number 2 with beer number 3 in front of me, and I'm looking forward to a good night.
Good. We also have, on a different floor, Connie Behringer. Good evening.
Good evening, Steve.
So we're here, we're here to talk about some really geeky things. We are part of the new Geek Bar in Chicago, and we are here to be that face to the public a little bit. Not that we own the place, not that we run the place, but we walk in and we can feel like we own the place.
Oh, that's right. I think we'll be the regulars, come time for us to establish a hierarchy of those of us in the in crowd and those of us who are welcoming others into the in crowd.
That's right. Community is the key to the Geek Bar, so welcoming others into the in crowd is certainly a part of it, but we know who's in the in crowd, don't we?
That's right. Those who are
I can wave to them from where I'm sitting is what's going to happen.
That's right. Our first segment tonight we're calling the Geek Test. This is where we identify the geekdoms that we are a part of. Mine's easy to identify. I've got a wall behind me that covers most of mine. I watch a lot of TV. I watch a lot of movies. My big thing is technology. I have a master's degree in computers, and my second passion is musicals. I put on a winter musical every winter and a summer musical every summer, ironically. How about you, Bill?
I'm somewhat of a Renaissance geek. I like to hit a little bit of as many geekdoms as possible. My main ones are video games, board games. Used to be big into a lot of reading. Haven't read as much. I haven't kept up on the recent fantasy series, I should say, but I've got a lot of the classics under my belt. And other than that, I get a little bit of tech, a little bit of movies, a lot of cartoons, a little bit of anime, kind of a little bit of everything.
I am not a gamer. I don't play games. The only video game I ever fell in love with was Super Mario Brothers 3, and that is the last one that I ever sat down and went, "Wow, this is fun."
It's an awesome one. The Wizard. That's good. It's the right era.
How about you, Connie? What's your geek cred? Or your Greek cred, I guess.
My Greek cred. My geek cred, I think I'm what you call an academic geek. And, in part, you could consider that education or anything like that. But I think more so, if I find a particular area of interest, I like to really just eat it up. I'm fully and intensively a part of that moment in time. So, I love board games. My favorite board games is Seasons, and I was obsessed with Seasons for an extended period of time, and I really wanted all of the expansions because I thought it was so great. And for television, I don't watch a lot of TV, but the TV that I do watch, I watch a lot of it. Like, I almost memorize every episode of News Radio. Love that show.
Wow, that is a specialized sitcom that you got into.
Well, that's how I geek out.
Oh, it was a good one. Don't get me wrong, but it's no WKRP in Cincinnati.
Oh no, it's much, much better.
Oh, now we have a fight.
Let's do this. Segment 4 redesigned.
Which news radio / sitcom is better than the others?
There's only one.
Oh boy, then we get into the Highlander. There can only be one.
Indeed, indeed. I have a special sword around here somewhere.
I'm sure that there's a sword in this house too, but it's a prop sword because we have a lot of those around here. A lot of costumes.
No?
Our second.
No? Yes.
Oh, there you go.
It's okay. You can't hear the recording of me holding up a sword to the webcam.
No, it was perfect. It was just fine. Good job. Our second segment. Our second segment is Seasonably Geeky with a chance of meatballs. Seasonably Geeky. We find that the seasons are changing here in Illinois. The weather's changing. It's pretty damn cold today, actually.
Yeah.
And we find sometimes that our geekdoms change as the seasons change. For instance, Oktoberfest is a different beer, and that's really enjoyable on a cold day like today. How about you, Bill? How have your geekdoms changed?
I find myself, well, there are two major factors here. Number one, fantasy football. I'm not a football geek in the sense that some of my friends are, where they know immense amounts of trivia for where players come from or what their stats are. I enjoy the competition of getting a group of friends together and, holding forth to see who's mostly luck, but a little bit of skill involved in drafting players or crafting a team from the rules of whatever your league is, and following the social interaction from that throughout the season, and the social aspects of continuing to talk and brag about any given player week to week. But from a more day-to-day lifestyle thing, I noticed that as it gets colder outside and I get more into hot soups for dinner instead of potentially cold salads or other things, I start to huddle up in front of longer-term games, maybe more like a role-playing game, like an RPG, like Final Fantasy or similar to that, where I can just hunker down for a few hours at a time when I can carve them out, rather than short snippets of more action-y kind of thing.
How about you, Connie? Do you agree with Bill, or do you kick him out of the house and make him walk the dog?
Oh, well, yes and no. I don't make him do anything, but he happily volunteers to walk the dog. But, I have to say, Bill actually touched on something that really resonates with me. Is like when the weather starts to turn cold and things like that, a lot of my geekiness gets turned into the house. So we like to play board games and just hunker down and make soups in the crock pot and just do a lot of cooking. So I find myself actually buying a lot of gadgets to do cooking. Like last year around this time, I think I actually picked up a Hot Pocket maker. Last year or the year before. Seriously, it was
sell
great.
a thing to make Hot Pockets.
Yeah, it was a mold more so than like an electronic device.
Oh yeah. But it's this really great mold where you fill it. You put pie crust on the outside. I think we use puff pastry dough, and then you put yummy things inside of it, and then you close it up and you bake it. It's delicious and just perfect. So I think my brain sort of goes in that direction. So Bill, I mean, you're gonna see if I start bringing home like melon ballers or whatever. That's
then
usually what's happening.
Do you get melon ballers in the summer and then crock pot in the winter? Is that how that works for you?
Well, here's the thing. I don't really buy a lot of cooking utensils in the summertime. It always happens around the fall time where I start actually thinking, I need this, because I'll get stuck in the house. You can get melons all year round.
You can now. That is true. You can get melons from different Southern American countries where they are still making those. It's hard to grow melons in Chicago, that's for sure.
Thank goodness for Peru, I tell you what.
That's right. There's a show title for you. Thank goodness for Peru.
It's mine. TM. You can't have it.
For me, my geekdom doesn't change very much with the change in seasons. Like I said, I put on a winter musical and a summer musical, so I do those both in the opposite cultures. And I watch a lot of TV in the summer because I'm not teaching, and I watch a lot of TV at Christmas time because I'm not teaching, and movies work really well in both times. Going to watch movies because it's cold outside works great.
If I could interrupt you for a second, I heard Teacher of the Year.
Yeah, I don't think this is the right show. Yeah. Yeah, sorry. I was very honored to be called the Teacher of the Year in my school district out here in the suburbs this year. I've been with the district for 12 years. I've done a lot of interesting, innovative things, putting on all the musicals that I do in the winter. I was the one that started that program in my school, and the summer musical is actually our whole district all-star edition, where I get kids from across the district to come together. We just did High School Musical for our summer show this year.
Oh, fun!
Yeah, it's just a lot of fun.
So Nostrovia. We're gonna find different ways to say cheers all episode.
That's right. We can jump into all of our foreign cultures.
That's right.
All right. Our third segment tonight is called This Week in Geek Culture, where we talk about some of the things that have happened this week, seeing that we're going to hopefully do this once a week. The things that have happened this week and the look ahead at next week. On the top of our list is something that you two know a lot about and I don't, and that is Gen Con. So tell me all about Gen Con, Connie.
Well, Gen Con is a wonderful gaming convention that occurred back in August, just this recent August, and it is one of the largest specifically gaming conventions in this country, and it is a 3-day, 4-day convention, and people from all over just descend on Indianapolis for 4 days of gaming.
And you were saying that Indianapolis is a great place to have a convention. They've got so many things there in their downtown area.
Well, you know what? I don't know if it's so many things, but you know they really know how to put on a convention. I have to say, because there's not too many places that are as equipped from a housing perspective in proximity to the convention hall. So you could actually walk to the convention center from your hotel room, and sometimes it's even connected right to the convention center. Whereas someplace like Chicago, you know, there was a lot of bickering saying that, you know, Gen Con has outgrown Indianapolis. And, you know, that's not really the case. You know, if we had Gen Con here in Chicago, what would happen? We'd all have to take a bus, an L, 4 different kinds of transportation just to get to the convention center. So it's really a wonderful place to actually go to a convention and just enjoy your time there.
And, Bill, you went to Gen Con this year with Connie, so did you enjoy it as much as she seems to have?
Oh yes. I had a great time. We do make it a point to make it a highlight of the year. Seasonally, Gen Con kind of kicks off a fall season of gaming that tends to ride the crest for us because we'd end up doing a lot of traveling. But yeah, it's packed. There are no matter what your geekdom is, there is a lot to do. Even if you're not particularly into gaming, there is an entire subsection of the convention that's just set aside for anime. There's a whole area set aside for pen and paper role-playing games. Wizards of the Coast, I think, has an entire hotel lobby set up just for them at a satellite spot from the main convention center. And just like the Dragon Cons of the world, which was last week, or the Comic Cons of the world, there's a lot of cosplay going on. There's a lot of comics. From a TV perspective, there's a lot of particularly Firefly makes some good representations out there. Guardians of the Galaxy, despite being a fairly recent movie, a lot of dedication, a lot of actually very good cosplay there this year for some Star-Lords and Gamoras and such. And yeah, I mean, it really does hit a lot of good areas and a lot of great ways to bring geeks together.
Very cool.
There's actually a great subtrack of lectures and seminar series. Very nice. This was our particular gaming hall from this year that Connie's showing up right now. We did buy several expansions and some new games that we've been very excited to play. There's actually a lot of great lecture series as well. There's actually a writing track. Connie and I are both writers as well, and they have all day long series of lectures for aspiring fantasy and sci-fi writers through all 4 days of the convention. as well as game developers or talking about gender issues in gaming. If you will go into Gen Con with an educational mindset, there is a ton of things that are available to you aside from the gaming aspects.
Right, and Steve, actually, Bill actually touched on this a bit, but during Trade Day, that's the day before the show opens up to everybody, they have a segment specifically for educators, and that's what Bill and I presented at. And you can go to different presentations that are given either by the gaming professionals or by other educators on how to incorporate games into your lesson plans, or even just the new places that the gaming industry is going in relationship with education.
The gamification of education is certainly something that we've been talking about for a decade now, and we're seeing a lot of those opportunities where these kids who are coming from a gaming culture know how to achieve goals, and if we set out our goals in classrooms in a similar way, they can really get some amazing learning out of those goals.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's really one of my big things, is using gaming to teach mathematics. I teach over at the School of the Art Institute, and so my class specifically is designed in teaching mathematical lessons using games to illustrate the point.
Very cool. Lots of other stuff has happened this week. The Apple announcement, the very big annual Apple is going to give us something shiny and we all need to take out our wallets and hand them to Apple event happened. And this year they announced a iPhone 6 and an iPhone 6 Plus. Are you guys smartphone owners?
Yes.
We are.
Yes, I am actually an iPhone 5 owner.
I'm a former iPhone user.
Yes, I'm a former Android user.
And the
actually, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's right. The iPhone 6 is bigger than bigger is the advertisement. They've come out with a larger, the 4.7 inch, and the iPhone 6 Plus, which is actually a 5.5 inch phone. Don't say phablet because they don't like that, but it's certainly larger for some part of the market that was missing that.
Well, and that's the big thing, is I switched over to an iPhone just this past February or January, February, specifically because the Android phones were getting too big. I have a very small hand, and I kept dropping my phone and throwing it all over the ground, so my screens are cracked on a regular basis. And I switched out specifically because, the Android phones were just huge. And so to hear that iPhone went bigger, it just makes me roll my eyes.
How about you, Bill? You like a big phone?
I enjoyed my iPhone experience. I think it was my first smartphone. But I enjoy the ability to play in my phone a little bit more. iPhone is such a closed system that you have one way to present your screen and one way to present your apps and everything. I enjoyed playing with my Android once I switched away a great deal.
That's one of the reasons why I carry both. I have an iPhone and an Android tablet so that I can live bilingually that way.
Very nice way to cover your bases.
Yeah, I gotta say, I miss having a keyboard that is awesome on my Android phone. I hate this keyboard so much. I can't seem to type an X or a C or anything like that. My thumbs don't work like that.
Well, the new iOS 8 will include all of those other keyboards, the swipe keyboard amongst others, so that you will have alternatives.
Thank goodness for that. It is about time. Saying, as someone who's used it for all of, 4 months, woo!
How about the Apple Watch? Everybody ready for a $350 appliance on your wrist so that you can get vibrations when your phone's ringing?
Well, I have to admit, our household is we're not Apple Watch users, but we are both Pebble users. Mm-hmm. So I don't mind my phone, my watch telling me who's calling me or who's texting me, so I don't have to take my watch out of my pocket. It is a nice feeling. In fact, speaking of geekery, we've got a very nice Doctor Who face for the watch that tells us the time, because there are 12 doctors now. There's one doctor for every hour, so if you're able to tell time by doctor, you can do that on a Pebble Watch. I'm sure you can probably do it from an Apple Watch too, but that is that is our current fun.
That's very cool.
True story.
So, is the $350 watch something that you're even interested in, or is the Pebble? Does the Pebble do what you need it to do, and that's enough?
The Pebble does a lot of what we needed to do. You know, I mean, there's little tricks that you can do. Like the Apple Watch has something where you can page your phone if you are missing it. Well, the Pebble does that as well. You just have to start playing music on your phone, and all of a sudden you can find your phone for that reason. You get a lot of your messages that you need. It is kind of a dumb terminal though, so it doesn't send any information. It just receives information.
Right.
But it is really great for what it does, and you only need to charge it like once a week.
That's the big plus. It has a great battery life.
And it is waterproof up to 2 atmospheres.
4, I think. Yeah, you can go scuba diving with this watch.
Right. You couldn't take your phone and go scuba diving with the watch, but though I have to say the Apple Watch is gorgeous. And I want it because it's so pretty.
Yeah, let's take a look at it here. I did pull these websites up to show people, and then I forgot all about pulling them up. It is a gorgeous watch. It is an amazing timepiece. And the idea of it, all the magnetic things that they've built into it, all the different watch faces and watch bands, and I really like the way that they designed things, of course, Apple being known for their design.
That's right. And there's one thing Apple does great, it's pretty.
That's right.
Really, but I think I'm sorry, go ahead.
The way that the watch bands slide in and out of the face was a really interesting feat of engineering, I think.
Yeah. And I think the one thing that they do have to worry about, especially for the early incarnations of it, is that, and it's a similar thing that has happened with Pebble, is that you need to get developers to develop apps for it. You know, a lot of what they have on the website right now are mock-ups of apps that may or may not be available in 2015. And so that's really the bigger problem that you're seeing with that. And there was a big problem with that with Pebble. You know, there were a lot of apps that were developed specifically for the Android marketplace that were extremely redundant. And you don't have as much available for Apple or Apple users, so iPhone users and things like that. But, you know, and it remains to be seen. But it is a gorgeous watch, and what it does, I'm sure it does very well, because, you know, Apple.
That's right.
Yeah.
One of the other things on our news docket for the week is the release of the Destiny video game. You guys are gamers, so are you playing the Destiny video game?
We want to be. It's a next-gen game, so we're just still debating about which console makes it into our household from the next-gen perspective. One of our big problems is, as married gamers, is that there's been a real downslide in couch co-op games over the last several years. So Destiny, like many other games, is one that has great multiplayer content, but not if you happen to be sitting in the same room as someone else playing the game. So it's a beautiful looking game. It looks like it's got great content, great graphics, great gameplay, but if we could have sat on a couch playing it together, it would have been an automatic sell for us. As it is, it's something we're still thinking about.
Mm-hmm. And I think the other thing is that because it's only available, I think it's for the Xbox One, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're not going to be able to get a version for 360 and for the One and play it on different rooms even. So, you know, because the two systems don't speak to each other. So it does sort of limit our desire for the game, as it is.
It was declared the most successful video game release ever. So
Wow.
A lot of people are buying it, so you got that going for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
True.
One of our good friends had called up Bill to find out if he would get an Xbox One just so that he could get someone to play with him.
Yeah, that's it's the social marketing aspect of it is working, because we definitely have people who are like, hey, you want to come online and play with us? Why don't you go buy an Xbox One?
I think the discussion for this podcast, there are a couple of people who wanted to be a part of this podcast, but they couldn't because they were already committed to playing Destiny tonight.
I feel so left out.
Well, you get to be here and have this fun discussion and talk about absolutely nothing for a half an hour.
How could we pass this up? I do not regret the decision.
That's right. We do want to talk about Doctor Who because we're all Doctor Who fans, but we found out that none of us... We're all a week behind. We all haven't watched the 3rd episode of Season 8 of tragedy. We released the podcast right now. We should watch it together.
Okay, let's just do that right now.
It's an hour-and-a-half long podcast. Just don't mind the last hour.
Just a lot of people saying, "Don't talk! Doctor Who's on!" That's Take the dog out! No, you take the dog out! No, you take the dog out! Well, pause it!
Pause! No.
So I'm sure we'll talk about Doctor Who in a future time, but that's great that we're all Whovians. Hopefully you guys see behind me there's at least one Doctor Who back there amongst all of my other geekery. I've been at the Doctor Who convention in Chicago, oh boy, since it was 3 conventions back. They've changed names and changed companies so many times, and I've been there every year. It is my birthday weekend that comes up, so it works out really well for me.
Great.
I don't know if you are aware of this, but David Zoltan, he's one of the founders of Geek Bar. He had a birthday party a couple years back where it was a Who-themed birthday party. So we all actually got dressed up. And Bill, which doctor were you?
I was Peter Davison.
Peter Davison. He was looking very dapper with his celery.
And Connie, you were a very, very handsome-looking TARDIS, as I remember.
It's true. I have a picture for you, if you would like to see it.
Yeah. Do you have it ready to pull up?
Sure, of course. I always have. Facebook.
There it is.
Yes, so that's the TARDIS and his 5th Doctor. And of course, we were having so many of our friends saying bigger on the inside, which is really cool. But I love my TARDIS dress.
Which is perfect now because we're expecting a baby soon. So
Oh my goodness, congratulations.
Thank you. That's why I am not drinking beer. I'm drinking iced tea.
Okay.
And
well
it's red
done.
tea. Not even caffeine in it.
Wow, you're off the caffeine and off the alcohol?
No, I'm off the alcohol, but I actually looked this up, and I can have up to 200 milligrams of caffeine, which is equivalent to 1 cup of drip coffee or 2.5 espressos.
Wow, that seems like a lot. 2.5 espressos. I think you're all right.
As long as you don't have them all at once. You'd be bouncing over all around the house.
That's right.
I love this stuff.
Wow, excellent news. That's breaking news on our first show. Congratulations.
Thanks very much. We buried the lead on this one. I'm sorry.
You did bury the lead. That should have been the highlight of the show. I think it is. I see we have another topic to talk about on the show here, and that is it's the fall, and it's time for some football. Everybody loves the Bears.
Bears!
Mike
I saw that up there. That's a good one.
That's fun. Are you guys big Bears fans? Do you go out to Soldier Field and watch games?
I have watched a soccer game from Soldier Field. I've not been there for an actual American football game.
I went there once 2 years ago. It's very difficult to get tickets.
It is.
But I'm a Jets fan. So.
Yeah, as transplants, our first loves are East Coast teams. I'm an Eagles fan, but I do love the Bears.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm thinking about getting a Robbie Gould jersey.
There you go. I've been out to Soldier Field 3 times. The first time I was in high school, and I was in the marching band, and we played halftime.
Yes, very nice.
Second trip out there was for a U2 concert, and then my third trip, my little sister actually brought me out to a football game. I don't go outside very often. I'm an avid indoorsman. That's why
This is a marching band podcast. You are in the right crowd. I was in the marching bands in high school and in the blue band at Penn State. In fact, growing up even out in Pennsylvania, I marched in the Brahms Holiday Parade here in Chicago. A good 16 years ago now, I think.
Wow.
Good stuff.
Marching band is forever. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's right.
Forever. You're forever going to remember how to roll your feet.
Yeah, that is a problem. That is a problem. Whenever I've had too much to drink, I don't fall over because I start rolling my feet instead. And my wife will always know when it's time to cut me off when I start walking really without moving my upper body whatsoever.
every time I'm carrying a plate or some drinks or something, it's just, the body goes into automatic stabilization mode. And all of a sudden everything stays right where it is. I can go where I need to.
Oh, that's great. That's fantastic. There's another surprise. We have a surprise marching band going on that we didn't expect. So that's great. All right.
Do we have time for our 4th/5th last topic?
You wanna try it?
Yeah. I think we're prepared.
All right, our 4th segment / 5th segment, since we threw in that surprise Bears segment.
Bears!
We're going to try some trivia, because we all love trivia. We're trivia geeks. I love knowing everything. It really bothers me when I don't know something. I don't know about... What about you, Bill? Is that one of your things?
It's good to know everything, so thankfully I don't experience the other side of things.
And Connie, obviously, you're the education geek, so you know all and see all.
Oh, well, but I'm not that competitive, so, it's not a problem.
Oh, this is what we didn't bring this up in the introduction. Connie and I, married expecting parents that we are, met at a board game party over a trivia game. A very little-known trivia game called Bezer Wizard. But it's a trivia game nonetheless, and as much as I like to pretend I know everything, Connie is definitely the #1 trivia boss in the world.
Well, that's the thing. They ask, what is your area of expertise? And I don't have one. I am an expert in what they call general trivia. So the more trivial the information is, the more I'm likely to know it.
All right, so Connie, you're the one who came prepared with the deck of cards, so you've got some trivia questions. We don't have a really... geek battle. All right. So this is a very general geek sort of question batch. We don't really have a way to buzz in, Bill, so I suppose we should shout out our names if we know the answer. That's about the best buzzer we've got.
Indeed. So would you like to go by any sort of particular topics, or should I just pick one?
Yeah, feel free to pick one.
I believe in you, Connie.
Okay. All right, so science and technology. I'm going to go up.
Oh, no.
Yes, I know. That's not fair, Bill, but this question is
the host gets all the advantages.
True story. If you're in a race and you pass the person in second place just before the finish line, what place are you in?
Steve.
Yes, Steve.
I believe that if you pass the person in second place right before the finish, you are therefore in first place.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. The answer is moops.
As a TV aficionado, I think he knows that reference.
Actually, you know what? You are in second place because you did not pass the person in first place.
If you pass...
So, I guess...
you are now in second place.
You are right.
I guess the appropriate sound is eh. How's
that? We need a buzzer of some sort. We should find some way to signify that I've gotten it wrong again.
I could find the creepy animals. I'm not sure where they are.
Yeah, I know. All I have is
dog.
I have a squeaky toy. If that'll help.
I don't think that does it.
All right, on to the next question.
Hit us again, Connie.
Sure. Let's see.
I feel like a Pokemon. We're just yelling our names out.
Pikachu!
Bill Beringer.
Okay, so let's try. Let me see. Those are too easy. I want to give you a tough one.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
It's 11 o'clock on a Friday night. We've all been drinking, so thank you for that.
Anytime. Anytime. So in Geek Life, ready? Laser assisted.
Is that a magazine? I think I read that after I was a Boy Scout.
I wish there had been Geek Life when I was reading the age to read those kind of things.
All right, I think you guys can get this quite quickly. But in Geek Life, laser-assisted in situ keratomiliosis is a treatment for what ailment?
I'm afraid I was having trouble hearing the question.
I heard the question, and I have no idea what most of those words meant.
Shall I read it slower?
Yeah, please.
Laser-assisted in situ keratomiliosis is a treatment for what ailment?
Oh, I heard it that time. Steve.
Yes,
that is better known as LASIK. That is the eye laser.
Well done.
Correct. The answer is myopia, and I also would have accepted nearsightedness.
There you go.
Yes.
Nice.
All right, Bill.
I'm falling behind.
I'm one, and you've got 0.
That is behind. I have now passed the person in second place, which is myself. So I'm running a race.
Well, that's the big question: is are we going to penalize you for incorrect answers?
Well, you're closer to him, so when you throw something at him, we'll know that he's being penalized.
I'm not using the advantage of actually being able to hear you before the lag of the internet, so I'll have to step it up here.
Okay, another Geek Life question. In The Big Lebowski, what item did the dude take from the Big Lebowski's mansion as compensation?
Bill. Oh, Steve got it before I did.
It was a lovely Oriental rug.
Indeed.
It was. Good movie.
It really tied the room together.
Yeah.
That's a great movie. Don't you love those Coen brothers? Coen brothers make some great films.
Very, very good films.
Indeed. All right, we've got one very challenging one that I think both of you, I expect you should know this, but I don't know if you will. And this is a sci-fi and fantasy question. What does J.R.R. stand for in J.R.R. Tolkien's name?
You know, I think I've heard this question before, and I still don't know the answer.
Just really relevant.
James Rolls-Royce.
Kills a lot of people that you love, but he's not a murderer.
It's J.R.R. Tolkien, not G.R.R. Martin.
Oh, sorry. No. Wrong J.R.R.
Hey, but I know exactly who you're talking about when you start mentioning killing people that you love.
Oh, so I'm going to call time on this one.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, I think that's a surrender.
Yeah, it's John Ronald Reuel. I'm not sure how to pronounce it.
Oh, wow.
You've got the card, so you've got to get it right, Connie.
All right, well, you want me to just type Oh, I hate this. Oh, you know what? This feature is disabled. Oh, well. I was trying to do something very cool.
We've disabled the whole segment? Oh, you're using it too far.
Aw. Wait, what? All right.
One more.
One more?
One more for the road.
All right, well then let's go back to science and technology. How's that sound? You ready for this?
Wonderful.
Yep.
All right, I expect both of you to know the answer.
I'm playing for the tie.
What computer technology is named after Harald I of Denmark, who brought together the tribes of Denmark into a unified kingdom?
I think the key there is unified. That's all I know. I got nothing.
Bill, I'm just gonna guess this at network.
No, my
okay.
love.
I was
My
thinking
gift.
Unix because of the unified.
Oh.
No, also wrong.
Oh. What did we miss?
All right, the answer is Bluetooth. The Bluetooth logo is composed of runes for his initial.
But really?
Wow.
There
That
you
is
go.
Yeah. Write
There you
that
go.
down.
very trivial.
There's your Connie
and
for the
very
day.
appropriate.
There's your.
Okay. Geek battle. That's the game.
Steve is the winner. 1-0.
There you go.
Teacher of
Stay
the Year
tuned.
and winner of the inaugural Geek Bar Radio Trivia Contest.
There you go.
Right.
We'll have to put
Can
it on
he
the big
defend
board.
his title?
We'll have to come back next week to find out, won't we?
This is very exciting. Hopefully we will all have watched episode 3 of Doctor Who by then.
And maybe even episode 4 if we catch up
Hey,
tomorrow.
let's not be too crazy.
Right. All right, I think we can call this show over. I think we've done a great job. Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you to my guests, Bill and Connie Behringer. Bill, thanks so much for coming in.
Cheers.
And Connie, thanks so much for reading the cards for us.
Anytime, Steve. That was good fun.
We have to figure out a better way to do that, I think. I think all of us should have some sort of cards, and we should read them round robin. I've got some Simpsons trivia cards in there that I could pull out, and I think we could have a good old time. Did you
It's
enjoy
true. I have
it?
a lot of Thanksgiving.
Did you enjoy it? Did you have a fun Friday night?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. That was wonderful. I always enjoy talking about general geekiness as well as just, I don't know, having fun in general. This is a good time.
How about you,
Very
Steve? Did
good.
you have a good time?
I had a good time. This is a fun show. If you want to find out more about me, there's lots of interesting ways to do that. My podcast that we put out on Tuesdays, me and Chip Hessenflow, is called Too Much Scrolling. You can find that at toomuchscrolling.com. You can check out the show notes there. I'll put the show notes for this show together too. A lot of it'll be we were just testing. How about you, Connie? Is there any way
Those
for...
sound like the correct show notes.
Yeah, I think so. How about you, Connie? Is there any way for people to find out more information about you?
Well, I respond very well to fireworks, so if they shoot up a signal, I'll come running. But other than that, no.
Are you on Twitter or Facebook or anything?
Oh, yeah, I'm on the Facebook, actually. If you go on Facebook, you can go to facebook.com/Robotron, and that's me.
Very good. How about you, Bill? Are you on Twitter? I am on Twitter technically. I believe it's Jolly_Bill. I'll have to actually start using it a bit more, other than following the people that I enjoy following, which is mostly gamers with jobs. But a lot of associated, gaming journalists and friends. But that would probably be the best way to include me in show notes. I'm an aspiring fantasy writer, but yet to publish something at the moment. So as soon as anything comes out, I'll be sure to let you know to broadcast the signal.
Very good. All right, that wraps up our first Friday night. I would say another Friday night, but it's only our first Friday night. Hopefully, first of many. We'll see you again next week from Geek Bar Chicago.
Woohoo!
Enjoy. See you at the bar.